इस पे अभी टेक्निकल कमिटी का एक रिक्वेस्ट है कि अभी एक रिहेबिलिटेशन करने के लिए पैकेज बनवाना होगा, उसको भी पॉलिटिकल लेवल से डिसीजन करना होगा। और रैंक हार्मोनाइजेशन का बहुत बड़ा इश्यू हो रहा है कि उनका लड़ाका को कहाँ पर कैसे कौन रैंक दिला के सिक्योरिटी सेक्टर्स में इंक्लूड करना होगा। ये बहुत बड़ा एक्सरसाइज जरूरी है, जिसमें बार बार टेक्निकल कमेटी और स्पेशल कमेटी को मीटिंग बुलवाता है, तब भी वहाँ पर माओइस्ट का लीडर ऑब्सेंस होता है। टेक्निकल कमेटी जैसे भी वो करता है, वहाँ पर माओइस्ट का रिप्रेजेंटेटिव पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करता है, कि बोलता है कि ऊपर से इंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं है। जो उन लोगों ने वर्कआउट करता है, उसको बोलता है कि ये हमारे विरुद्ध वो षड्यंत्र कर रहा है। तो इस तरह से अभी चल रहा है। आज ही एक न्यूज था कि टेक्निकल कमेटी का एक मेंबर बोल रहा था कि जिस तरह से उन लोगों ने रिगरस वर्क करके प्लान बनवाया, वो बहुत खतरा में है, क्योंकि उन लोगों का इतने एम्बिशियस प्लान है। 8 घंटा दिन पे और 4 टीम ने रिगरसली काम करेगा और एक टीम ने 40 लोगों को ग्रुपिंग करेगा। इस तरह से उन लोगों का प्लान था। जब वो प्लान शुरू टाइम में नहीं हो पाएगा तो ये 60 डेज के अंदर उनको रीग्रुपिंग कर नहीं पाएंगे। इस तरह से ये बहुत बड़ा इश्यू हो के आ रहा है। जब तक ये इंटीग्रेशन नहीं होता है, पीस प्रोसेस कंक्लूड नहीं होता है, एक तरह से मैनेज करने के एक उस पर नहीं पहुंचता है, तब तक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ड्राफ्टिंग का इनिशिएशन भी नहीं होगा। क्योंकि सबसे बड़ा जितने भी ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूंट असेंबली फॉर्म हुआ, उसके बाद जितने टाइम मतलब खर्च हो रहा है, ये सारा इसी डिबेट में खर्च हो रहा है। कॉन्स्टिट्यूंट फॉर्मिंग में तो जितने भी काम किया सभासद लोग किया है, तो पॉलिटिकली जितने भी डिबेट आ रहा है, जितने टाइम चला जाता रहा है, ये सारा इसी में हो रहा है। तो मैं यहाँ पर ये बात क्यों कर रही हूँ, क्योंकि यहाँ पर जितने भी नेपाल में जितने भी क्राइसिस हो जाए, जितने भी बड़ा इंसिडेंट हो जाए, इसके ऊपर इंडिया में बड़ा न्यूज़पेपर वगैरह इस पे कुछ नजर नहीं आता है मुझे, क्योंकि उन लोगों ने नेपाल को इश्यू को इतने इम्पोर्टेंस देके नहीं लेता है। मुझे पता नहीं क्यों ये होता है, तब मैं इसको ज्यादा फोकस कर रही हूँ। थैंक यू। कुछ है तो मैं फिर बताऊंगी।
Remains a backward country, then it will pose security threats and other threats to India. So, and I'd like to tell you one thing. Recently I interviewed some Nepalis who came from Libya. We don't have our embassy in Libya, so they were stranded, but they were greatly helped by Indians, and they said one Indian even begged for the Indian ambassador's mercy. The ambassador said, no, we are overwhelmed by the numbers of Indian citizens, so we can't provide any kind of assistance to Nepal. And that man from Bihar, he was crying and he was begging for Indian ambassador's mercy. And he said, okay, if you don't have money, if you have to go hungry, I will buy my jewelry, the jewelry that he bought for his sister, and I will try to feed you. And then when our ambassador in Egypt told them to go to Egyptian border, it was very risky, they could be killed. So he said, okay, if you have to go, I will go with you, and if our vehicle is fired upon, I will get the first bullet, So that kind of warmth, love and affection we have, and I think the Nepalis will have the same warmth and love for Indians if they are in a position to help. But the thing is, we have warmth and generosity and goodwill on the both sides of the border, but that is not reflected in the official policy of Delhi or Kathmandu. The people are one. They feel that they are the members of the same family. But one neighbor is prospering and the other neighbor, Nepal, is not prospering. The end of monarchy and the republican system offers a good opportunity to build a congruence. And I think both the countries need to focus how they can build a congruence, how they can move in the new era. That is all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ram Kumar ji. Now, I request Dr. Bastola if he has something to say, because he was on the way and he was so interested to be here. So please share your views.
Thank you, Bhadraji. There are so many similarities in South Asian culture, but Nepal and India is in between and closer country. But what happened to the relationship between Nepal and India when British imperialists ran away from the India? The impact of the feudal system in Nepal was also impacted. Rana was under the blessing of Rana regime, was under the blessing of British imperialist force. That's why when new capitalist force emerged in India and ruled in India, then that capitalist force compelled Nepal. They intervened in Nepalese politics. That's why Delhi negotiation was happened in 1951. That was the job. Whatever my friend told that, why the Nepalese are Nepalese. They are not against Indian people. There are Indian people. But what the Indian government is doing in 1951 and after that, when Indira's emergency was unpopular in India, then immediate in that moment the referendum was happened in Nepal. This is the political, geopolitical relation. Similarly, when Sonia was not allowed to enter in Pashupatinath, then 19th moment was happening. And when the king was being undue ambitious, then Maoist and seven parties alliance, and alliances were held in the mediation of Indian government. This is the reality. The intelligence report, which is under the Home Ministry, that should go to the Indian embassy. This is the reality. When Vijay Pratap ji told that about the Bamdev Gautam, when Bamdev Gautam was the Home Minister, he stopped. It should not go to the Indian embassy because Nepal is sovereign state, Nepal is separate state. Then it was, opposed by the Indian ambassador. This is the reality. There are so many, things to discuss, but the relationship between the people of two countries should be, it is very pleasant, very well. That should go smoothly. And then what happened? We have to consider that. We have to realize that without the involvement of the Maoists, the constitution would not be formed in Nepal because they are the largest party. And if we added CPN UML and then Nepali Congress in one part, the seats are more to Maoist. They have 240 seats among 601, and CPN UML have 109, and I think Nepali Congress have 113. This is what they are largest, and for the new constitution, it needs two-third majority and national consensus. And the left force is, around 62%. And some bourgeois force, were also in the favor of, for the constitutional process. In that moment, the Madhisi Adhikar Forum was divided. It was divided. This is the reality. We have to see over that also. Therefore, for the peace, for the progressive part, Indian government should be, positive. Now, I remember one event when, our Prime Minister was just be the Prime Minister. It was the tradition that he should visit first in India. But Jalanath ji was the Prime Minister, and he was not invited to the India. This is also the reality. And what happened? Prachanda went for the somewhat game In China, it was opposed by, first he went to the China, it was opposed by, and it was suspected by the Indian government also. These are the realities, and I think this present government, headed by Jalanath Khanal, is only one government which, emerged without the support, without the plan of Indian government. This is also the reality. I request, there are so many obstacles, but we have to discuss over that also. That's why medicine it will not be sweet. That therefore we need the medicine for the treatment, for the relationship, and we have to discuss over that also.
Political party, as Vijayji mentioned, in Maoist there are 3 factions. In UML there are 3 or 4. Maybe Bastolaji may, Bastolaji may. Right, and in Congress, obviously recently united, because it was earlier 2 party, Nepali Congress and Nepal Democratic, and in between in 2007 this Madesh-based party emerged as the 4th largest party, forces with 82 seats out of 601, and you see, within 3 years it splitted in many factions like this. If you talk about the largest party, Madesh Jan Adhikar Forum, it had 52 seats, and now it is splitted into 4 groups. So that's what is happening. And regarding constitution making is concerned, only 7 meetings were held within 1 year. And if you follow 2 gentlemen, agreements of 2000, just before first extension 2010 May 18, and this time 2020, 2011 May 20th, the similar situation is there. They signed this very ambivalent and very broad kind of agreement. Earlier it was 3 point, now it is 5 point, and from the very day they started defining this agreement on their way. Like earlier also, this Prime Minister's resignation was one of the demands. It took 7 months to replace the then Prime Minister Madhav Nepal, and again this gentleman Jalnath Khanal also himself signed, saying that he will resign. And I think it is more than 20 to 23 days. So, and talking about this integration process, one deadline has been already crossed, because this modality had to be decided by 5th of Ashad, that was yesterday I think, and it has been missed out, and the Maoist is telling that they are not willing to sign any agreement now because they have kind of rift, and people started kind of suspicion that once Maoist has to implement and they show their division and go far away. That is the, I think that has kind of some clue also, because from the day one, what happened, if you talk about 12-point agreement, there were, as my friends and colleagues said, there were 2 kind of, there was basic agreement between parliamentary force and this Maoist, and parliamentary forces compromised for 2 things through this 12-point agreement. One was they were with this constitutional monarchy, and they have given up that idea, and they decided to go for republic. That was one for parliamentary party, and second one was they were not for this federal kind of setup, and these 2 things were to be done by 7-party alliance. And for Maoist, there were many things like they had to go for this parliamentary democracy one by leaving their very idea of this people democracy. Also, they had to integrate, who are cantoned in a 90,000 plus number in 7 major cantonments, and they had to give this property confiscated during their People's War to the owners, and many more things Maoists had to do, and it is yet to be done. And what is happening in Nepal today, if you follow this debate, you see, I mean, I think still the division is the same. Other parties, non-Maoist parties, are saying that, oh, first Maoist has to give up their arms and armies, combatants, because Constitution says, interim Constitution, which is now in a function, says that this integration and rehabilitation process should be ended within 6 months of the Constituent Assembly election, and Constitution should be promulgated within 2 years. I mean, there is clear-cut gap between integration issue and this Constitution-making issue. There is 1.5 years gap, and now these non-Maoist parties are saying that is why we put this time gap, so that our Constitution should not be suffered from this shadow of these arms and armies. And Maoists sometimes, often sign the agreement and went to say that, oh, the two process has to go together. And I think all the debate, whatever is, there about constitution making, I have mentioned in my paper. And for your information, still we have 99 contentious issues inside Constituent Assembly. And out of that, 21 are related to this system and forms of governments, right to self-determination, inclusive polity, land reform, property, etc., etc. And 78 are related to state restructuring. Regarding state restructuring, what Constitution says that there should be the state restructuring committee, commission, to suggest what form of state we are going to have. But this constitutional provision is yet to be, functionalized.
Materialized.
Yeah. So these are the issues, and I think most of these I have covered here, and I wish to even clarify if something is there. So I think half of the titles, Voices from Nepal, has been over, and now it is the discussion time. I think you will
Let
speak.
us hear the words of wisdom from the elders in India.
I have listened to all of you very attentively, and most of it is very new for me. I must say that newspapers don't report very much on Nepal. Once in a while you see some article appearing in Indian Express or some other paper like that, but generally Indian Express. For that matter, India is really not very much conscious of its neighbors. If you go to Bangladesh, the same story, and they say, we hardly make news. And they do say, we wish we had a Kashmir, something like that, then you would probably attach some importance. These days, India is very much engrossed in its own problems, and that may be one reason that you do not get any attention at all. But even otherwise, I would say, what my experience has been, and now I must have visited Nepal for more than 60, 70, 80 times, or more even. I'm more familiar with the older people. They were good friends, equation. Maybe my fault that I have not really crossed the generation gap, and I'm still stuck there where I was. Though I have gone very recently also to see. Even then my feeling was that it was a very hate-love kind of relationship. I recall meeting almost all the leaders at that time, and I knew D.P. Kurela and others. I think if I can put my finger on at least what I feel, that India has not been able to help Nepal economically, which should have, but it has been engrossed too much in their domestic politics. I feel that Indian newspapers, which should take an independent line, most of them do not, because somehow or other foreign policy is chalked by Foreign Office, and generally most newspapers follow that. Civil society contacts with the civil society that side are not there. One, probably civil society there is limited and also is not as articulate as civil society on this side, and also probably not as resourceful as the civil society on this side. But if there had been contacts between the civil society of those, maybe things would have been, they would have been put on the table in a different way. So whenever you say that, look here, it's India's responsibility to see that the backwardness in Nepal, or the poverty in Nepal, or whatever the present, should have been also the responsibility of India. Probably I agree with you, but India has its own areas which would be really poorer than even Nepal, or the people there. So when this society is quite tolerant of whatever is happening there, or at least is not as bothered as it should be, so when you expect that them to do it, and the expectation at the back of your mind is that there are 80% of Hindus there, and we are a Hindu state, or at least have been, now you're saying. For that matter, you should have had some pope who could have settled between the two religious communities. But your secular credentials have started being established now, very recently. Earlier you have been always a Hindu state. So people would go from here to, some people to the temple and things like that. But there was no really a general kind of contact here. So people here are presuming that Nepal is always there. I mean, say if I were to talk to somebody, the house or somebody, but never bothered how it is growing or whether it is not growing, or things like that. And whenever you, the news in Nepal from would only be till recently when it was supposed to be that some terrorists from Pakistan are coming, so that was a big news. Or later now that China is a big news here, you might, or China is now trying to do this thing. And one gets a feeling here as if you are really playing one against the other, the government or whatever it may be. So where I personally think you as a Nepali society has to do is to really inform people here what Nepal is, what modern Nepal is, what is looking for, its aspirations. And similarly, the society on this side should be doing that. But as I told you, that it's too engrossed for the last several months in its domestic matters. And I personally think it is going to be so for some time to come as far as India is concerned. Now, this is a very crucial period for you in your own domestic affairs. This is a very crucial period for us in our domestic affairs. So, the crisis, or whatever you can say, the climate has come both sides when both are engrossed in some other kind of work. So, I really don't know if a delegation coming here or a delegation going there would very much help. Yes, in marginally maybe. But basically, India and Nepal would have to think of the basic problems. Apart from poverty or other, that this treaty, for example. Now, I remember, called many days, I'm talking of now our first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal ji. At that time, you know, there was a revolt of Rana's pressure, then the king, Tribhuvan was the name, I think, probably. He came here. And at that time, very serious suggestion from Nepal, kingship, that India should also have Nepal as part of India. At that time, it was the suggestion. And Nehru said, no, it's not, no, it must stay as a separate entity. But Nehru was also at the same time clear that it would be sovereign, independent, but seeing that what is the mood of India or what is the policy of Delhi, so accordingly that was taken so literally by Indian ambassadors there that they started behaving like viceroys. And that alienated people more, at least what my own experience is. I remember one, it's a huge embassy we have there. So there's one ambassador now, I don't want to name him. So I had written something again, criticized him for having said or behaved in a particular manner in Nepal. So when I met him, he said, you have something, you are very anti-national. I said, why? He said, when you criticize me, you are also criticizing India. And I represent India and so. So that shows that the attitude of ambassador. We can't move away from government and we cannot go near the government. I'm talking of Nepal in that way. So Nepal will have to, maybe you will go through lots of problems just like India will. Ultimately, it will depend upon really the people here and there. What do they want? Do they really want good relations and respecting your sovereignty and not thinking that, look here, now Nepal is tilting toward that side, how dare it? Right? Its own, whatever it feels like at a particular moment, maybe. At one time we were tilting towards Russia, now we are tilting towards America. So that is, but that right we do not seem to give to Nepal, and we do not accept that from Nepal. We do think that okay, it has to seek a solution within a larger frame of the region, maybe, but not really bringing in some party like China. That would be very much, it's already being, because Nepal, because China and India are adversaries, and after all, what is our problem with China? I'm not going into that, but one thing I still remember what the Prime Minister Jawaharlal said. He said, we are two giants, India and China. And we represent certain ideologies. And when we grapple or when we fight, it's going to have effect in all the region, probably in the world also. So that's the reason he was very much against any kind of clash. But now that it has come, there is no doubt that when you are saying that we are cultural ties and others, yes, definitely. But if we have culture ties and others, then certain things follow that you would not cross a particular line where India thinks that, okay, culturally you are now going away from us, or religiously you are going away. I'm talking about generally what the people think. I'm not saying it's a right or wrong. But if you want some attention here, that is one thing is that you must appear in, not in so much, it's of course very good that if you appear in Hindi papers, but after this civil society is really pro-English and its establishment is pro-English. So you have to see that something appears in English papers. I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but I'm talking you to the facts. And even today when we say Hindi is a principal language and English is official language as usual, the secretariat, everybody just, when it appears in an English newspaper, even though its circulation may be for 30,000-40,000, still it's noticed. But if it appears in Bhaskar, which is say 1 million copies or something like that, yes. I mean, maybe states, in the states, language papers have more influence than the English. But as far as the center, Delhi is concerned, it's very much. All that I can say, then, since I am just rambling along, that is that you have here people who really are your friends, who want you to come up, prosper, have democracy. But I was very much surprised that one very well-known Nepalese, he was going to London, he stopped here the other day only. He's trying to set up some kind of foundation with the help of money from abroad. So when I asked him, I said, okay, the whole thing is so confused. What is the solution? Now this man smiling called me, you have to bring Raja Amsu Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, bringing back? How do you say? He said, nahi, yahi, aap dekh lena, aista yahi feeling hai. I hope this kind of feeling has not started in Nepal. I will be very much shocked that if it were to. But, huh?
Must have been very close to India.
नहीं इतना इंडिया के खिलाफ बोला था. He was saying that about India. He said its policies are so wrong that it is throwing India is throwing Nepal into the lap of China. He was saying that was also said. But he said this also as far as his own country is concerned. I haven't visited Nepal for the last now 2-3 years. Vijay Pratap is the one who goads me, and I have been trying, just promising him one. But on my plate are also lots of other things like India-Pakistan relations. I go on plugging whatever be the, maybe originally I came from there, but whatever. And I still feel at home there, at least, or if I get the opportunity. Now, anyway, that country, I don't know what's going to happen to that country is another thing altogether. But please, what I want to assure you is that there are some people who are in the profession, who are very friendly and who would like to put across this democratic viewpoint and who do believe that Kathmandu is as sovereign as New Delhi, and who do believe that, look here, India has done lots of excesses. Please try to meet them, feed them with some information. Till you develop some other, that's another thing. But till then, you just go and meet them, talk to them.
As a party, we were thinking maybe our Deputy General Secretary will be able to come, Sudhakar Reddy, but he was busy in some meeting. I was to come along with him, but he could not come, so naturally I am there from the Secretariat of CPI to listen to all of you, and after listening to you, to make a few comments also. You see, this is not only